Good afternoon, everyone. Um, hadn't planned on doing anything today, but I've been seeing some things and listening to different things of what's going on. And I ran across attorney Augustus Corbett, who is part of the Defiant Lawyers. He's a civil rights attorney. And he broke down how Trump radicalizes white males and he speaks about black conservatives. I'm just going to play you part of it. I'm still going to do that live I have scheduled for tomorrow. But I think this is a good thing that people should hear. You know, it's it's good. It's interesting. He's very very intelligent, very intelligent. He breaks it down. He's a practicing civil rights attorney in Atlanta, Georgia, and he has broken down how and how what's going on with these words and you know with these words. You have to hear him to understand it. He gives insight into white supremacy, how the Klan. It's not. We're looking at the Klan. When I grew up, the Klan was very powerful in the South. Members of the police force, Southern police force, were actually Klan members, and the three missing civil rights in 1963, Cheney, Goodman, and Schwerner. Uh, the Nebosha County, Mississippi Sheriff Cecil Rainey was part of the Klan. He let the boys out late at night. They had to travel on a dark road because the rural South has always been dark. They don't put too much in the rural areas. But anyway, listen and let me know. I turn comments on so you can let me know your feelings about it. But I think it's something we should all hear. And you don't have to agree with me everything I say, but I think this is something black people need to see because they're talking about Biden is too old. And yes, I feel Biden is doing good, but I feel he should retire and let the young kids take over. As we grow older, we need to step back and allow the younger people to come out. Jasmine Crockett, she's great. AOC, they don't mind calling these people, people when they see wrong, they don't mind calling them out. But I'm going to play this for you, and I want you to listen to what this man has to say. Like I said, you don't have to agree with me or agree with him, but at least listen. He makes some good points.
Does that so well. Stay with me. Hello, everybody. This is Attorney Augustus Corbett. I'm one half of the Defiant Lawyers, and each and every week, we bring you at least one legal analysis of some story trending regarding politics, policies, personalities, or pop culture to empower you and equip you with the information you need to defy an unjust legal system and to nullify systemic racism. If that interests you, and I surely hope it does, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell. Okay, so let's get into this. Yes, I got to give Trump some credit. Got to give him some credit. He is extremely effective at radicalizing white male rage against Black progress. I'm going to show you why he's so effective at doing this. And I'm going to show you why we must do something about it, because they are certainly taking from us precious rights. and they have not finished. They are on the march. And I've been warning you, I've been telling you, I've been sharing videos with you, trying to get you to understand why we must take this threat from Trump and MAGA and the GOP and these angry white men, these angry, fearful white men. We must take this seriously. I've been talking to you about it. You know I have. And some of you, for example, I did a video on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, this past birthday. And I talked about how this whole colorblindness and reverse discrimination, how they're using those two things in concert with the 14th Amendment to roll back precious laws. I did another video where I talked about how they're trying to gut the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And some of you said things like, well, let them have it, let them do it. It doesn't matter. That's probably going to be good for us. And you know what I said to myself? I said, they don't understand. They just don't understand. They're speaking out of a lack of knowledge. Despite me taking my time to explain these things to them, they still don't get it. So what do I have to do? I have to keep saying it. I have to keep saying it, have to keep repeating myself until the bell goes off. Because I am not going to sit back and do nothing while Trump and, again, MAGA and the GOP just roll back precious civil rights that affect our lives as African-American people. I'm not going to sit back and let that happen. I want to begin with the recommendation of a good book. Actually, I recommended this book in my last video, but I'm going to use Dr. Carol Anderson's book again, one of her books again, here to talk about this white rage and how Trump uses this white rage. Yes, Dr. Carol Anderson, PhD, a professor at Emory University. Dr. Anderson has written several books that I recommend you get all of them and read all of them. She is a very prolific historian, and she tells history in a way and from a perspective that we as African Americans can use it. I think it was Wilmer Leon, Dr. Wilmer Leon, say that you study history, not just to study history, but to understand the present. And then you can map out the future. So if you don't know history, you don't understand why you're where you are now. And if you don't understand where you are now, then how can you possibly plan for the future? So having an accurate understanding of African-American history and American history, which are really two and the same thing, then you cannot understand where we are right now. I did a video a couple of weeks ago about the Southern Strategy. And most people don't know what the Southern Strategy is, most Black people in particular. That's why I did that video, so that you can see which of these political parties is most hostile toward African Americans today. So I focus on history because we need to understand where we are today. So Dr. Anderson says here, white rage is not about visible violence, but rather it works its way through the courts, the legislatures, and a range of government bureaucracies. It wreaks havoc subtly, almost imperceptibly, too imperceptibly certainly, for a nation consistently drawn to the spectacular, to what it can see. It's not the Klan. White rage doesn't have to wear sheets, burn crosses, or take to the streets. Work in the halls of power, it can achieve its ends far more effectively, far more destructively. In my Washington Post op-ed, therefore, I set out to make white rage visible, to blow graphite onto that hidden fingerprint and trace its historic movements over the past 100 years. So let's stop and understand what Dr. Anderson is telling us. She's saying that white rage is different from this blatant, angry, public, white anger that we see, for example, with groups like the Nazis. No, white rage is much more subtle. It's in the halls of Congress. It's in corporate boardrooms. It's at school board meetings. It's in the shadow, if you will, being financed by dark money to implement anti-Black policies that hurt worse than a Klan member burning a cross on your yard. All right. So she's letting us know that although we can't see the white rage, it certainly has a huge impact on the Black community. She says the trigger for white rage is Black advancement, Black progress. So when Barack Obama is elected to the White House and then reelected, that is going to bring about white rage, white backlash, and you're going to begin to see anger and fear amongst white men in particular, and they're going to begin to implement policies and start doing everything they can to try to prevent more Black progress. We saw that with the Voting Rights Act and how they gutted it in 2013 in the Shelby County versus Holder case. We are seeing that now with the rollback of affirmative action, with the rollback of DEI programs. We're seeing all of that right now, as Dr. Anderson says, because the thing that scares and feeds white male rage more than anything is Black advancement or Black progress. And lo and behold, here we are now with a Black female vice president and a Black Secretary of Defense. All of that progress really, really scares and causes great angst and white rage, especially among white men. And I'm going to explain why. And Trump knows how to tap into that better than anyone that I have seen in my lifetime. Better than any president that I've seen in my lifetime. I thought Ronald Reagan was good. Trump takes it to a whole new level. All right, so let's go back.
What's your credit card debt balance? If it's $10,000 or more, here are 3 easy solutions you can start implementing today. And number 3 is an absolute game changer. Number 1, the first step to tackling your credit card.
To Dr. Anderson, again, she says the trigger for white rage is Black advancement. It is not the mere presence of Black people that is the problem. Rather, it is Blackness with ambition, with drive, with purpose, with aspirations, and with demands for full and equal citizenship. And that's what we do as African Americans. Some of us, we keep pushing, we keep prodding, we keep protesting, we keep marching, we keep going into the court system, because some of us understand that we don't have full equality yet. And that's what we want. We want full equality, not half, not 2/3, not 1/4, but full equality. And that's what triggers white rage. It is Blackness that refuses to accept subjugation, to give up. A formidable array of policy assaults and legal contortions has consistently pushed back resilience, Black resolve. That is so very, very, very true. Now, Black conservatives aren't triggering any white rage because they are in support of white supremacy. They are okay with the turning back, the rolling back of affirmative action. In fact, one Black man, Clarence Thomas, helped to turn back affirmative action. That same Black man helped to roll back the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So Black conservatives see things completely different. Not only are they not triggering white rage, they are getting handsomely rewarded for standing shoulder to shoulder with white males who are trying to turn back civil rights for African Americans. They're getting all sort of perks and privileges and positions and so forth. All right, now, Dr. Anderson goes on to say, and all the while, white rage manages to maintain not only the upper hand, but also apparently the moral high ground. Now, I want you to listen carefully at this. It's Giuliani chastising Black people to fix the problems in their own neighborhoods instead of always scapegoating the police. It's the endless narratives about a culture of Black poverty that devalues education, hard work, family, and ambition. It's a mantra told so often that some African Americans themselves have come to believe it, again, like the Black conservatives. Few even think anymore to question the stories, the studies of Black fathers abandoning their children, of rampant drug use in Black neighborhoods, of African American children hating education because school is acting white, all of which have been disproved but remain foundational in American lore. So all of that has been disproved, all of that Black men are horrible fathers, that it's Black culture that's causing all these issues, all of that has been disproved because the core of the issues facing African Americans is not Black culture, it's white culture. It is the evils inside of white culture. As a matter of fact, I'm planning a video entitled, "What's More Evil, White Culture or Black Culture?" Because Black culture, you listen to white and Black conservatives, everything is all about how horrible Black culture is. And racism is doing nothing. Systemic racism, slavery, Jim Crow has done nothing to bring about the issues we see in the Black community. It's all about Black culture. That is a lie. I'm going to bring that out in an upcoming video. All right, so how does Trump, how does he tap into, how does he radicalize white male rage so effectively? Now, in the event that there are some of you out there who are saying, what are you talking about? That is not happening. Black folk just need to work harder. Black people need to rebuild the Black family. Black people need to stay out of the criminal justice system. Well, as Dr. Anderson just said, those things, while we certainly do need to stay out of the criminal justice system, we certainly need to build strong Black families. We certainly need to be hardworking, which most of us are. Those things are not the root of the problems that you see in the African American community. We cannot buy into these white conservative narratives that absolves systemic racism, that essentially says not only is there no systemic racism, but Blacks are the ones now who are racist. That's a white conservative narrative that Black conservatives have picked up, and they are out here telling us this stuff, causing many Blacks to support Trump, listening to that foolishness. All right, let's keep working it. I now want to read you a letter that a white law firm wrote to the Howard University Medical School. This letter shows you how white male rage is working, as Dr. Anderson said, in a covert, clandestine way. All right, let's go to this letter. It's dated July 6, 2023, and the letter was issued shortly after the affirmative action case that basically gutted affirmative action. So I'm not going to read the whole letter, but you see, again, it is written to Howard University College of Medicine, and it's from this white conservative law group here, the Liberty Justice Center. And by the way, we too have a law center that fights for justice, the Lazarus Law and Justice Project. Our website is lljp.org. We want to build the Lazarus Law and Justice Project into something that can fight what we see happening across our country. Okay? All right. I'm going to go ahead and just jump to the bottom of this letter because that's where the juice is. I mean, the first part, all they did was just said, hey, the affirmative action case has been handed down in the U.S. Supreme Court, essentially has gutted affirmative action. Therefore, and it's this last paragraph that I want us to read, in accordance with the Supreme Court decision in Students for Fair Admissions, Inc., your medical school must immediately cease any and all policies, practices, programs, or procedures that include a racial component. Look at this. This includes any diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, Consequently, to the extent your medical school fails to immediately comply with the Supreme Court's recent decision, Liberty Justice Center will actively engage in strategic litigation to vindicate the fundamental constitutional rights of those individuals whose rights have been violated. So they issued this threat to the storied Howard University Medical School. I mean, we got to take a step back and understand what this is all about. Howard University Medical Center is located in DC, and most of its students are African Americans. The medical school produces physicians that serve, oftentimes, predominantly low-income African American communities, putting doctors in those communities who are not focused on making money so much as they are providing good medical care to try to deal with the disparities that are in the healthcare system. And here, despite that mission and that good work, they're sending a letter to the Howard University Medical School threatening them to stop any sort of program that they deem, that whites deem as violative of the affirmative action case. That is white male rage. You don't see any angry terms here. You don't see the N-word. You don't see any of that. But the strategic litigation that they threaten is aimed to really impact Howard University's mission of providing health care to low-income neighborhoods. Again, it is white male rage. So what they did was they got the court, which consists of 6 conservative justices, 1 black, to gut affirmative action. And now look at what has happened. Look at the slippery slope now. So they don't stop with the universities. They don't stop with undergraduate admissions at the universities. Now they're going at HBCU medical schools. Next, it'll be HBCU engineering schools, HBCU nursing schools, HBCU law schools. And they won't stop there. They've already sued this company, Fearless Funds, I think the name of it is, African-American women who were providing seed money to African-American female-owned businesses that needed money, that typically cannot get money from the Small Business Administration, can't get money from capital venturalists and those other, methods of raising money for small businesses. No. So what these sisters did with this Fearless Funds is they began to raise their own money. But this same crowd has now gone after them. And it's not going to stop there. Your job is at stake because in their mind, you took the position of a white male. In their minds, you are a diversity hire. In their minds, you are an equity and inclusion hire. In other words, you're not qualified to be on your job. You took that job from a more qualified white guy. That is white male rage. Trump leads that movement. And why any black person would support Trump as he leads a movement to dismantle the rights that you and I have. They're coming for all of that because they have rage. They're angry. I'm going to get into that so that you'll see why they're doing the things they're doing to undermine our progress, our advancement. All right, now.
We help patients face pregnancy with hope instead of fear.
Why does Trump resonate with white male rage so effectively? Why do they listen to him so closely? Why are they so connected to him? Why are they so in support of him? Well, there are a few reasons. One, Trump is a con man. He's using them because he doesn't have the issue that the everyday, ordinary white man has. He doesn't have their issues. Trump was born a millionaire. Trump's father gave him $1 million to start life with. Trump don't know anything about the issues most working white men know anything about. He doesn't know anything about trying to pay a light bill. He doesn't know anything about trying to put food on the table. He doesn't know anything about trying to keep your job. He doesn't know anything about that. The only thing he shared with those white men is the same skin color and the same ideology. Yet, they just follow him and other rich white men right off the cliff. I tell you what the sleeping giant in this country is. The sleeping giant is when working people of all colors, ethnicities in this country say no to being used by rich white people. In other words, when poor whites, poor blacks, working whites, working blacks, working Latinos, and so on say we're not going to allow them to divide us anymore, pit us against each other anymore. No, we're not going to do that. But so many working white people, they feel like, well, at least I'm better than those people. At least I got a leg up on them. And if I don't fight them, then they're going to get what little bit I got. You see, Trump is of that rich class that has been using white and black people and pitting them against each other for years. That's where he comes from. All right, so he's a con man. Second, they're all white supremacists. What do I mean by that? I'm not saying they're the kinds who will go out here and put on robes and burn, again, crosses in your yards. No, I'm not saying that. That's not what I mean when I say white supremacy. But they believe that white men should control and rule this country. That's a white supremacist, because white supremacy thinks that whites are superior and therefore they should be in control. That's a white supremacist. I don't care how nice they are. I don't care if you go out and eat lunch together. If in their minds and hearts they think that white men should rule America, then that person is a white supremacist. And so they're all white supremacists. They fear the nation's racial demographic changes. It is predicted, and it's been predicted a long time, that America will become a minority-majority country. In other words, minorities will be the majority in this country. And that scares white men in particular, because for the last 400 years, they have been the majority and they have ran this. And now they see evidences of that coming to an end, or at least changing. And that triggers that white rage. Their fears were confirmed by Obama, right? So we got Trump because we got Obama. That's the only reason Trump was elected in the first place, because Obama was elected and then reelected. Trump is their guy to try to put this black progress and black advancement back in the bottle, right? So Obama and most white males voted for Obama's opposition both times. John McCain the first time, Mitt Romney the second time. Most white men voted against Obama because Obama was what? Their worst nightmare. Oh my God, we're losing the country. Oh my God, this black man with a Middle Eastern name, Barack Hussein Obama. And Trump, he began to float the lie that he's not even a citizen. Oh my God, we're losing the country. We're losing America. Is there anybody who can help us? And Trump says, I'm glad to. I'm happy to, because I'm concerned about losing the country too. I too am a white man. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to spend my money to prove that he shouldn't even be in office. I'm going to spend my money and give anybody what I think, didn't he pledge $5 million to prove that Obama was not a citizen? And they couldn't do it. But when he stepped out in opposition to Obama like that, he, at that moment, became their star. So they said, here we got a blatant white supremacist who has a whole lot of money, who has no morals, and he will do whatever is needed to protect white male hegemony, white male dominance. And he tapped into that and made the announcement that I could murder somebody on Fifth Avenue and they won't do a thing, because he knew these folks need me, and I have tapped into their rage, and I share their rage. Are you with me? Now, the thing that blows my mind is the fact that you got black men who are on board with this. That's what blows my mind, and some black females as well. So that their fears were confirmed by the election and re-election of Barack Obama. Trump radicalized their fears. I mean, we heard it. So when he came down the escalator in his New York building there and said, they're sending us their worst, they're rapists, they're murderers, etc., he was tapping into their fears. When he stood and gave that speech after the 2020 election and said that if you don't be strong, you're going to lose your country, all of that was tapping into the fears of white men and tapping into their rage. He said many, 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 many other things, right? I'll talk about in just a moment how he specifically radicalized their fears. White male rage also came about because white men, by and large, embraced the lie of reverse discrimination. In other words, if the country, with the addition of the 14th Amendment, does anything to try to give black folks just a little bit of leg up so that they can begin to start getting on parity, so that they can begin to start experiencing full equality, white men consider that to be reverse discrimination. It's like they've had their knee on our necks, like Derek Chauvin. And to take that knee up a little bit, to them, is reverse discrimination. Just to take that knee up some, so you can get some air. In their minds, that's reverse discrimination. And it's oppression. Because if you've been used to having total control, absolute power, and you now got to share 5% of it, that's oppression. And that triggers white rage. So they, as a result of this reverse discrimination, they resent the civil rights movement. Have you noticed they are attacking Martin Luther King? They are going after the civil rights movement because they resent all of that. If you listen to North Carolina gubernatorial candidate Mark Robinson, he says that civil rights is a bunch of crap. He says that too many freedoms were lost. Who is he talking about? Who lost freedoms? Black Americans gained freedoms. So who is he talking about when he says too many freedoms were lost as a result of the Civil Rights Act of '64 and the Voting Rights Act? He's speaking on behalf of white men, right? And that's why he has been rising and rising and rising and rising and rising, almost to become the governor of the state of North Carolina, because he's speaking for white men. He's not speaking for black men. He's speaking for white men. So is Tim Scott. So is Clarence Thomas. So is Candace Owens. So are some of these YouTubers. They say little subtle things, right? Have you noticed? Some of them will not just come right out and say, I'm a Trump supporter. They say subtle things. They just throw it in there. They just throw it in there a little bit. But the impact is, especially on people who are not knowledgeable, who doesn't know history, the impact is you need to support Trump or you don't need to support Biden. Not supporting Biden is supporting Trump. Don't let nobody fool you here, because we got two people. Okay, Kennedy, R.F. Kennedy Jr., I think his name is. He may get into the race, and of course there's Cornel West. And let me address Dr. West here for a second. I love Dr. Cornel West. I think I need to do an entire video on Dr. I love Dr. Cornel West. He's a good brother. He's a brilliant brother. He's a genius. And I agree with a lot of his positions. He has a good heart. He loves black people. I've learned a lot from Dr. West. I've read Dr. West's books. But Dr. West does not have a chance to win the presidency. That's just the way it is. I wish he did. I wish he did. But right now, supporting Dr. West would be essentially supporting Donald Trump. A man who is leading the effort. Trump is leading the effort to dismantle everything precious for African Americans. Now, he comes around and he smiles and he got some black friends. He got black rapper friends and some other black friends and so on, okay? And he will insult us with stuff like, I've done more for black Americans than anybody since Lincoln. That is so disrespectful. First, it's untrue. It's patronizing. It sounds like he's talking to about 5-year-old children. I've done so much for you all. I've done more for you all than your mamas and your daddies. I've done more for you all than that King man, and more for you all than Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass. I'm y'all's savior. I believe he knows how offensive that is. I don't believe he's that stupid. But he doesn't care. Just like he didn't care when he said, what do you have to lose supporting me? Your schools are no good. Your neighborhoods are no good. You all are no good. So what do you have to lose? So that's the way you ask for our vote? Come on. Come on. All right, merit versus DEI. This really gets me because white men over 400 years of this country are not in the positions they're in, having been nearly all the presidents, most of the senators, most of the House members, most of the CEOs, university presidents, corporation CEOs, and on, union bosses and everything. They haven't gotten those positions because of merit. They have gotten those positions because they created.
My name is Honey. I'm a Posigen sales rep. I'm also a Posigen customer. Before solar,
A system that highly favored white men. How can you say that you got what you got by merit when you forced other people to do your work for 250 years? What? What? How is that merit? And then how do you claim merit when then you created a Jim Crow system for 100 years? That's not merit. What white men did was they took our labor and took our money that we worked for. They took that from us. And that happened until the 60s. And it's still happening. So how do they claim merit when most of the money they have gotten it through the enslavement, the subjugation, and oppression of Black people? That's not merit. I mean, give me a break. Stop peeing on my leg and saying it's raining. We're not fools. Some of us are uninformed, and we're out here trying to inform our brothers, but we're not fools. You haven't gotten what you've gotten because of merit. It's because you built a system, a nation that rewards you merely because you're a white male. So let's keep it real. They fear the loss of power, right? We talked about that. The loss of power feels to them like oppression. I mean, that's why they are in the streets, storming the Capitol building, etc., because to have to share a little power with African American people is oppression to them. Like I said, if you're used to absolute power, 90, 100%, and you now must share 5%, that's going to feel like a seismic shift. That's going to feel like oppression. You're still 95% in control. But yeah, I don't want to give up that 5%. That to them feels like oppression. They don't know what oppression is. All right, so question then becomes, what methods does Trump uses to radicalize white male rage? I got a few things. One, as we said earlier, he's a con man, but also he's an unapologetic white supremacist. He doesn't apologize for it. He says what comes to his mind. He expresses his white supremacy blatantly, and they love that. They love that because he's saying what they are afraid to say. He's saying and behaving the way they want to, but are afraid to because they may lose their jobs. But they cheer him on and they support him. And the very thing that you and I, as African Americans, may find offensive about him is the very thing they love. His unapologetic white supremacy. They love it. So when we're sitting thinking, well, now, him saying that will definitely mean that they're going to stop supporting him. No. They enjoy that. They laugh. They love seeing him say that stuff because that's how they feel. That's the way they feel. Almost like when Malcolm X used to say things that many Black people felt and thought, but would never say. That feeling that folks had for Malcolm and for Dr. King, right? Those men who were courageous enough to say the things that we felt and thought. We loved them the more. Are you with me? And it's the reason why he was called the courage of Black men when he got assassinated. I'm talking about Malcolm. And it's the reason why we love Dr. King today, because he became a martyr. He was murdered because he said the things that we felt, believed in our souls. That's the way they see Trump. He says the things, the racist, white supremacist stuff that they feel and want to say, but are afraid to. Second, he's unafraid to use angry, racist rhetoric and gestures, especially toward Blacks. Right? So he says things like Blacks are supporting him because of his mugshot. knowing that's offensive. He says that blacks are supporting him because blacks identify with him in that he's being unjustly prosecuted. That man knows nothing about being unjustly treated by the criminal justice system. I work in the criminal justice system as an attorney, and trust you me, rich white men are not unjustly treated in the criminal justice system. Just one thing, for example, in every one of his cases, he has an army of lawyers. The black men I represent in the criminal justice system, most of them have to take court-appointed lawyers and then have to work double jobs to pay private lawyers to represent them. They have nothing in common with Donald Trump. Nothing. Nothing. I don't understand why any black man would feel like, well, he's getting persecuted. Dude, what are you talking about? I could say more. He lies incessantly until they believe it. The man has no honesty whatsoever. He'll lie, just flat out lie. Just lie. Just lie. Because he knows, he says it enough, eventually it's going to get down to his base. And they're going to repeat it. Just because Trump said it. That's another very effective method of his. He's brazen, like John Wayne or Dirty Harry, right? The Clint Eastwood character. He's brazen like them. I mean, they love that. It's their thinking that men like Dirty Harry and John Wayne, the Mulberry Man, were the kind of men who conquered this country, were the kind of men who took this land from the natives and then brought blacks over here and subjugated them to slavery. So when he behaves that way, that's exactly that white male spirit that they celebrate. And they embrace it because in their minds, they're saying, that's the man we need to take back our country. We're not going to take it back with these nice white guys. They're white supremacists too, but they're not mean enough. They're not ugly enough. They're not brazen enough. But Trump is. I actually heard a white pastor say that. Robert Jeffries, who pastors the First Baptist Church here in Dallas, one of the biggest churches here in Dallas, in the country. I heard him say out of his own mouth, someone asked him, well, it seems that you Christians, you white Christians have always talked about electing somebody, who got good morals, who's a committed Christian and so forth. He said, no. We don't want that kind anymore. We want, these are his words, we want a mean son of a gun. We want a mean, unscrupulous son of a gun who will get in there and do anything and whatever to win, to take back this country, to keep us from losing this country. That came out of the mouth of a preacher, a white preacher, Robert Jeffries. Said, no, we don't want no good Christian man. See, I'm old enough to remember when that's exactly what they said they wanted. There was a movement called the Moral Majority that was started by Ronald Reagan and Jerry Falwell. And it was all about, we want a moral man, a Christian man. Now, this man is nothing close to a Christian. And I'm not judging his heart. I'm not judging him like I'm Jesus. But we all see for ourselves. We all see for ourselves. Okay? He tells them to reject shame and guilt for white supremacy. He tells them not to apologize for being white supremacists. That's how what he's trying to say to them is, that's how we took this country. That's how we built it, being strong white supremacists. Stop being ashamed. Stop feeling guilty for being strong white supremacists. They love him for that. They love him for that. Yay, yay. The crowds roar when he says stuff like that. The crowds roar with those red MAGA hats and Confederate flags and so on. They roar. because in their minds, this is the guy. This is the one we've been waiting for. He's the one. No shame, no guilt. And that's why, before Trump hit the scene, white racists like that, they were racist, but they kind of kept it to themselves. They knew the wrong word could end their careers. I remember Trent Lott, Senator Trent Lott, who was majority leader back in the 80s, I think it was, who praised Strom Thurmond, a segregationist, a senator from South Carolina. Just that praise of Strom Thurmond cost Trent Lott his leadership position, effectively ended his career. But that was then. This is now. What has happened now? And you're thinking Donald Trump. But no, what has happened now is Barack Obama. Keep in mind, there is no Trump without Obama. It was Obama who got their attention. So now that Obama was elected and reelected, then they said, we got to come out of our bags and just go head on and just be who we are, white supremacists. And that's what Trump said. Don't feel guilty. Don't be ashamed. Be white supremacists. Otherwise, you're going to lose this country.
Hi, Mom. We're in Bucks County together, and it's exactly what we needed. I can't believe you pulled this off. A surprise getaway to a place that feels refreshing. And it was so easy to get here. We're doing all the things he had planned, and things he didn't plan. I'll tell you more about it when we get home. You and Dad need to come. You'd love it here.
He expresses his grievances, and he's full of them, right? He is, we've been told over the years that blacks are always crying victim this and victim that and victim this and victim that. There is no one who plays the victim card more than Donald Trump. The election was stolen from him. The Department of Justice has been weaponized against him. And what he's so clever and effective at is he will take his stuff and wrap it up in the American flag and say that when they hold me accountable, they're bringing down the country. They are attacking the country. So he so effectively makes his grievances the country's grievances or theirs. So working white men who have nothing in common with Trump other than skin color will start parroting his grievances. Some white men feel like we're losing our jobs, things are bad, like black folks did it. Like we're the reason jobs went to Mexico or jobs went to China. We're not in any position to send anybody's jobs anywhere. We're trying to just find jobs and keep jobs. It is rich white men who sent jobs south of the border or to China, not black people, yet working white men want to blame black folks. And they pick up the grievances of Trump. Make that make sense. He camouflages his immorality by presenting himself as a strong, indomitable white man. That's so important. Like, a white man who doesn't break, doesn't give up, doesn't bend, doesn't apologize, doesn't ask for forgiveness. Strong. All of that endears him to white male rage, because that is, in their mind, a strong leader. To see that that, again, indomitable spirit. Now, the man is immoral, but he camouflages it, right? He does stuff and say, essentially, I'm fighting for you, and I don't ask for forgiveness. I don't say I'm sorry. I did what I did in a strategic move to get where I'm trying to go. So if somebody was hurt or killed or whatever, then, oh well. And I will end with this. There is no comparison between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. There is no comparison, no equivalency between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Like there was no comparison between Trump and Obama. None. This man is off the charts. Off the charts with his rhetoric, with his antics, with his white supremacy, with his immorality, with his lying. Off the charts. And, he loves these strong men. He loves them. And so much so that white males are following right behind him as he embraces Putin. I mean, Donald Trump is so off the charts with his immorality and so on. Even his former vice president will not endorse him for president. That is saying that, look, forget everything I just said. You ain't got to listen to me. Forget what I said. His vice president who served with him, covered him, protected him, lied for him, and almost died for him, will not endorse him. Nor will former chiefs of staffs, nor will folks throughout his administration, the Secretary of the Department of Defense. I mean, just down the line, people who agree with him, who are white supremacists just like him. So outdone by this man. They will not endorse him. Yet, you have Black YouTubers who are telling Black folks to endorse him. Or don't endorse Joe Biden so that he can be elected. A man that his own vice president will not endorse. That speaks volumes. So, I wanted to show you how Trump radicalizes white male rage against Black progress. These folks think that every inch of Black progress is an inch of white male oppression. I'll say it again. They believe that every inch, centimeter, millimeter of Black advancement, Black progress is space they have lost as white men. That's how determined they are for there not to be Black progress and Black advancement. And when there is, that triggers that white male rage. And Trump feeds on it, he capitalizes on it, he leverages it. And he has profited from it. All right. I am Attorney Augustus Corbett. Again, I wanted to show you how Trump radicalizes white male rage against Black progress. If they will go after Howard University Medical School, nothing that we hold dear as African Americans, our jobs and so forth, are definitely under threat and at risk. They're trying to roll back everything they can roll back out of fear and rage. And again, Trump has radicalized that. I'm not saying it wasn't there the whole time. He radicalized it. He brought it up and out. All right. So listen, if this content is something you think that needs to be spread throughout the country, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell. Help us grow the channel. And thank you for the growth that we have seen here recently. We really, 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 really appreciate it more than you will ever know. We appreciate your kind comments. And I'm okay with you disagreeing with me, but as I say all the time, no disrespect. If you use swear words or you name call and all of that, we will block you from the channel. Point blank. Okay? But I'm out. Peace.
Well, I did that for those, Miss Andrea, I did that for those. You think like I think, so I'm sure you did. I knew nobody was going to come in here because I hadn't planned on doing nothing, but it's a whole bunch of mess. I see a whole bunch of stupidity, and that's why I did it. But I'm going to post it up and let those, hopefully, people will go and see, will listen to it at least. I'm hoping they will, because it, to me that was powerful, because I haven't heard anybody speak like that since this whole thing with Trump began, because I don't know, Black people losing their doggone mind. So hopefully somebody will go back and listen to it. They can leave comments, and because I know somebody gonna say some smarts behind stuff, but that was what I did for the day. I got something else for tomorrow night. I might change the time for it, and I got a few other things because I've been busy, but that's why I put this up. Hopefully those of you will think before you you say the things and do. Nothing wrong with being a conservative, but at least be an informed conservative, and don't go with the crazy talking points. Be respectful, and think and listen. Nobody says that everybody has to be on the same page and has to think alike, but see what is going on, and don't be like an ostrich. Don't put your head in the sand like an ostrich, because that's not how they are. you know Look at the points and see if they go after HBCUs. What else will they go at? They went after Venture Culture, which was 3 Black women, and one of those Black women was Keisha Knight Pulliam, Little Rudy from The Cosby Show. She put her money to help young entrepreneurs start a business, to lend money, venture capitalists. But they stopped them because they said it doesn't include white people. Why should we include white people in things that we do? They don't want us around, but they don't want to see us as a people progress. That's what the problem is. And a lot of Blacks don't see it, especially young Blacks. They don't see what these people are doing. No, they don't see it. They honestly don't see it. So what we need to do is listen and inform, and try to inform these young kids what's going on. They fall for, oh, he got sneakers. Oh, Trump gets sneakers. He gave us stimulus money. No, Trump did not take a darn penny out of his pocket and give. That stimulus money comes from, if you young and your parents are working, that's their tax money they gave out. He damn near killed a whole population of people by being ignorant and dismantling the all of what Obama put in place. The I forget the name of it, the infectious disease panel they put for pandemic, because under Obama, Ebola had come into the country because a lady came from Africa and she got off the plane. She had Ebola. Ebola. She went to the hospital. They cured her. Nobody ever knew it was here until after everything was over. Can you imagine what would have happened if Trump had been president? If he had beaten Obama, then what would have happened? He had been president or running from the president, and he had beat Obama. The Ebola would have took over. Then he told everybody not to get vaccinated. Come to find out, he was vaccinated. He almost died from COVID, but he told everybody else not to do it. Oh, just shoot some bleach in your veins. So do we want 4 more years of that? No. They asked the question, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Yes, I'm way better than I was, health-wise, mentally, and everything. And my goal is hopefully not to let Donald Trump get another term into the White House. So I'm really better off than I was yesterday. But like I said, I just put this up for those people who don't know, who support Donald Trump, because, he's going to send all the immigrants back to where they come from. He's going to deport them all back to Mexico. They're stealing our jobs. They're doing this. What the hell do these people think when Donald Trump finishes sending back the minorities, sending back the Mexicans back to Mexico, sending the illegal immigrants back home, and closing the borders and not letting immigrants come in? Who else will he have to claim his superiority over? Us, Black folks. A lot of you dummies don't understand, and I'm calling you dummies for the lack of something better. People, wake up, share, share, whatever you want to do with this video, but let people know this is serious. They always say every election, presidential election cycle, they always say, vote. This is what do they say? It's the most important election of your lifetime. Well, you know what? This time it's true. It's true to save democracy, because if we let Donald Trump go in, there's going to be no democracy, and white supremacists will rule the country. And we, as a group, Black people, as a group of African Americans, we will suffer the most. They want to go to HBCUs, which means historically Black college and universities, which were built because of Jim Crow laws, so Blacks could go to school. Whites did not want us in their Ivy League schools. They didn't want us in the Alabama state colleges, the Mississippi state colleges, and all over the South. Tennessee, they have, oh God, I forgot the name of it. It's in Tennessee, but Meharry Medical School, they don't want that. They don't want places like when we had Tuskegee, the Tuskegee Airmen, Tuskegee University. They don't want that. They don't want us to have that. They don't want us in their schools, but they don't want us to have our own. That's to keep us down. They don't like women because they want Black women to be servants, so their white women can stay home barefoot, pregnant, and have Black women neglect their children, taking care of their children, to come take care of Miss Jane's kids. So let's not get this twisted. Let's tell it like it is. They are trying to bring us back to segregation. And if people think that the Jim Crow laws were worse, if Donald Trump and these white supremacists get into office, this time it will make segregation look like a cruise, be on a cruise. because they mean to destroy Black people, Black excellence, Black home ownership, Black neighborhoods already. They have not allocated money. The Republicans have held up HUD monies, which are used to get paid for people's low income rents so people can work. They haven't appropriated. This Congress, Republican Congress, House, has not passed any laws and allowed the president to pass his budget and anything, but they blame Joe Biden for everything when they sit and they have the majority. Republicans have the majority in Congress and they do nothing. So the money for housing has ran out. The ACP, which allowed seniors and people with a low income to be able to afford access to internet services. They've done away with it. They have not allocated any money for it. They've cut the program out. They will not allow any money where seniors or low-income people can have internet in their home, and low-income people can be able to afford internet so their children can do their homework. Because most children now, because of the pandemic, when there's illnesses, major illness coming, which is said there will be other pandemics, but they now, instead of having snow days, children go on virtual learning, which they need the internet to go onto their Chromebooks, which hopefully will still be provided by school systems in America. But without the internet, Chromebooks are no good. So if there is another pandemic, how would these children, low-income children, be able to go to school? Because during the pandemic, my granddaughter went to school every day. Her mom couldn't work. They paid her mom to stay home when they weren't really sure what was going on and they were looking for a vaccine. So that people just think before you vote. Donald Trump is not the one. Joe Biden, I have no problems with him. He's doing the best he can with what he's allowed to do. I think he should be more aggressive. I think they should get rid of Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, all of them. Get rid of all of them. Mitch McConnell, he needs to go. He needs to go sit down somewhere and stop being a force in there. He did all of this. Clarence Thomas, they need to go, and Joe Biden and anybody who supports him, tell him to stack the Supreme Court. If he had stacked the Supreme Court, he can put anybody he wants on the Supreme Court. So he could have put liberals on there. He doesn't need the House Republicans to do it. Donald Trump, look what he put there, to win. Get rid of Clarence Thomas. They scrutinized Fani Willis and Nathan Wade about her money once they got a paycheck, which had both their name. Wade's name was on his and Fani's was on hers. But they want to, you paid him that money so you could benefit from it. But yet Donald Trump goes on billionaires' yachts and gets money from billionaires, but that's not scrutinized. Come on, people. And this is the man you want to lead us, a crook, a man who by Monday, hopefully, will be his empire will be destroyed. And I never gloat over anybody's downfall. But if any man deserves to lose everything, it's Donald Trump. He stiffed poor construction workers. And they weren't Black people. They were his own people. He doesn't pay his bills. He hates Black women. He has called Letitia James peekaboo, which was his way of calling her a jigaboo, which is a racist term against Black women. He's called Fani Willis a fat ass, but nobody holds him accountable. And Black people think it's funny. You know, they dragged her through and put her business, her private business, in the street. But nobody talks about Donald Trump's, and which is on video, him saying he could go on in the middle of Fifth Avenue, kill somebody, and nobody would arrest him, or he could grab some woman by her private part, front end private part, and because she'll like it because he's famous, he's got money in this. He brags about this. With what people? It must be the water, or it must be what these people are eating. Is it too much processed food, too much Mickey D's and Burger King? Y'all want to have it your way? This is not Burger King. You can't have it your way. Donald Trump is not the one. He's not the one. Hey, Vic, how you doing?
Hi, Pumpkin.
Can
How
you
you
hear
doing?
me?
You good? Yeah, I can hear you.
I
Can you hear
just
me?
put. Yeah, I can hear you. I just put this one up
Oh,
because I'm sick of these people. I go on. I go all over the internet looking, and this man right here, Augustus Corbett, he's the civil rights attorney out of Atlanta. He's the only black person I heard about Donald Trump that makes sense. He's telling
oh, right.
everybody.
Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah,
you
it
heard
was
it from,
excellent.
huh?
I heard it from about 10 minutes after you started your live. I've been listening. But
Yeah,
everything he said, he broke down very well in depth. It's not superficial. And your breakdown is great too, Pumpkin. I'm enjoying it. I appreciate it.
oh, thank you. I just put it up there because people need to hear this. My mother was a
Definitely.
conservative, but she was a conservative, very conservative
Mhm.
in her viewpoint. She was against abortion. She hated when they passed that law. I come from a conservative Christian family, but we wasn't stupid. I mean,
Right.
black people are ridiculous because the man gave $1,200 that stimulus check, and they told me, "Oh, but you took the check. If you didn't like it, why'd you take it?" I said, "Because I worked. That's some of giving me some of my
How can you not take the check? It's the same as a tax deduction. You
right.
take
They
the
put
tax
it in my
deduction, right?
account.
So yeah, it doesn't make any sense. People are just losing their minds, and I
It's
and I think
black
just like you
people.
said, yeah. Well, I think it resonates with the same level of thinking. I don't think it's the color; it's the wavelength, the intelligence level. I hate to say it, but it resonates with simple-minded people. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Well, let me see. It resonates with people that see the world as way too honest. Like the world doesn't operate like that. Someone doesn't come out like Trump and tell you, hey, we're going to get rid of the illegals, and hey, we're going to get this country back, and you just believe it. That's
Yeah,
that's all it takes is a simple explanation, and you believe that. That's how simple. And yet he's a billionaire. He was born a millionaire. He never worked a day in his life. It's father. He has nothing in common with you, but yet you believe him. You don't question him. You don't. There's no in-depth questions. There's no. They don't require anything of Trump. I mean, it's got to be simple-minded.
he
Ultimately they
he
don't
was.
hear what they want. Biden is not simple minded enough. The Dem party is not simple minded enough. So it doesn't resonate with the same people, but ultimately, they're speaking truth. The Dem party is speaking truth right now. They just are not saying what these
They
people
ain't
want
dumb
because
as.
it won't be an easy road. Like the Dems can't come out and say, we're going to give black people reparations. They can't say that, you know, and that's what some of these black people want. They want to hear that word reparation. But the problem is that it's still going to have to go through Congress. It's still going to have to go through the Senate. It's still going to have to go through all these people's hands. So what do you do in the meantime? You try to address everybody's issues as much as you can and include as many people as you can. That's the alternative until you get the moral compass inside of the Congress and Senate and ethical compass to pass something like reparations. But right now they don't have it. You
They
see?
sure don't.
So they don't, and we're not
Reparations.
speaking. Yeah, and enough of us aren't speaking intelligently about reparations to defuse some of the doubt. So we can't expect others to just do for us. We have to do something for others too. We do. We got to do something for the country also if we want something out of it. And that's the way, and that's the crying shame of it. But it's like that for everybody. Look at Native Americans. What are they going to get out of the country? They're not
Nothing.
going to get anything they don't fight for, anything they don't contribute to. And the damn country was taken from their ancestors physically with physical violence. So we're in a similar boat. So we have to stop thinking that sure we have a cause, but we have to also operate with everybody else we operate with the rest of the day of the week. We go to school, we go to work, we pay taxes with the same people there, the same police officers, the same mayors, the same, construction workers, the same everybody. We all in this thing together, and I think the division stops a lot, and Trump represents that division. The Dems don't.
You know,
So
but I don't believe in reparations right now because, first of all, what are they going to do with it? They're not going to do anything with it. With the mindset that's going on now, they're talking about if we don't get reparations, it's going to be a revolution. How are you going to be a revolution when you don't have a military, don't have educated people running? It's a bunch of people talking stupid talk. You're going to go up against the government, be blacks,
you know what I don't
against
understand?
the
You know what I
government,
don't understand?
huh?
You know what I don't understand? I don't understand why the black people that say they support Trump don't ask Trump about reparations. I mean,
First of all,
if Trump,
Trump ain't got no money, so he ain't trying to hear that. He trying to get that. Do you know that on Monday he can't get, nobody will loan him anything because Letitia James, who is the Attorney General for the
yeah, I saw
Northern
that.
Region, she has literally exposed all of his properties. He's not a billionaire. He's never been a billionaire. He inflated all his prices, and the bond companies don't want the properties because the money they would have to give him to bond to him, the properties don't cover it. His properties
Right.
are worthless as far as a $464,000 bond plus $100,000 a day in interest. It's over $500 million, and they want the
It's a half
cash.
$1 billion. Yep.
Huh?
And they want the cash up front. They want the cash up front. They want it in cash.
And
That's
it's so sweet, and it's so sweet because he said, don't touch something, he said to her about 40 Wall Street, which has his name on it. And come to find out, he had everybody thinking he owned 40 Wall Street. He doesn't own it. He rents it, and they let him put his name on it. He rents it out for him and pays rent for him. And she says, all she said was, I walk past it every day. I walk past 40 Wall Street. So she's going to take 40 Wall Street. She's going to take Mar-a-Lago. Monday, you watch and see. He's not going to get the money.
okay.
His
So
lawyers.
on Monday, we got to cover that. We got to cover that
Yeah.
on Monday.
Because she's
yeah.
going to court.
Live.
She told him, you have until Monday to come up with the money. She said, well, because she gets them every time, because I watched her. She said, maybe I'll put that up tomorrow. But she says that, if you can't get him up with the bond, put your properties up for sale. But his properties are not, what, Mar-a-Lago, I think they said, is only worth about 22, maybe 25, and I'm kind of stretching it, maybe 28 million, and that's it. That's the extent of it.
Okay.
And the Trump Tower, the people, it's vacant. Nobody is renting because some people, rich people, went there and they said it was terrible. She's going to take the
Wow.
airplane. She's going, he has his own plane, and that's not even his plane. He leases the plane. He's just allowed to put his name on it. So she's exposed all of his lying that he's done over the years. She's put it out there, and people are running from him. Some of his followers are begging billionaires like the Koch brothers, Charles David and Robert Koch. They're all billionaires. They're each 3 brothers, and each one of them is worth $1 billion, begging them to put the money up. Nobody's going to do it because Donald Trump is known for not paying his bills, for stiffing people, and they don't want to lose their money like that. So Monday, 25th, it's on. So
It's
watch
on.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
So
gonna
yeah, we're gonna do
lose.
that live. We're gonna
Yeah,
watch
she's
that
gonna
live
get.
all day.
Yeah, it's gonna be on TV all day. She gonna get him, and she sits there and she tells him, I gave you 30 days." And I found out yesterday when I was looking that she did not have to give him 30 days to get the money, but she gave it to him.
Mm.
See how sweet that is? She gave it to him. She knew he couldn't come. His lawyers came back to court and told the judge, "Can you please let me put up half of the money?" Something stupid he said. And he said, because his lawyer told him that amount of money, no bond or I can't say that word, surety company has ever bonded anybody for that amount of money. Because it's over 500. It's over $500 million.
And they will lose that money. They'll lose that money.
They don't trust her. They don't trust him.
Well,
Unless
I wouldn't trust
somebody is stupid and bails that man out. Yep. But he's gonna take
I'm
it.
sorry. I'm sorry if I said that the people is like were unintelligent, or but what I mean is
stop
maybe
being
it's
sorry.
another
They
way.
are. They're ignorant. If you follow Donald Trump, you're ignorant. I don't care who you are. I don't bite my tongue with it. You're ignorant. And black people
But
that follow Trump are stupid as hell. I'm sorry.
I try to be more diplomatic. I try to be
I
more
know.
diplomatic,
I know.
But it's like it's hard. It was hard this time. It's like I'm just waking up, so I don't have all my words together. You know?
Yes, you do. You got them together. A lot of times I'll be listening to you. I'll be doing stuff around the house, and I hear you. You can get with them when you want to, but you try to be diplomatic and keep people in line, and so everybody don't get crazy. But I don't bite my tongue with Trump. I don't bite my tongue with these old hypocritical pastors. No, I don't. You think it's okay. You want to go after Fonnie Willis and Nathan Wade and put her business all in the streets, drag her up and down, and let them drag her. But you don't let.
You know what?
But wait a minute.
You know what?
They sit up there, but they support Donald Trump. And he talk about where he grabbing people. He don't mince his words. So what the hell?
People, I don't understand people, because if black people elect Trump, they are electing a lynching for themselves. Because look at what the Trump years were like. You had angry, crazy, racist white people marching through towns, running over people. Yo, that was way out of line. They're going to take it further the next time.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, they're gonna take it real far, because you can see them now. Because the stuff they saying now, they would have never did say. But these generation of black kids, especially up here where I am, up here near New York, they ain't taking it. You pull a gun, they gonna pull a gun. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be
that's what I mean. And some people want it to come that far, but I just think the people in the cities, the black people in the cities never have much to worry about, because they insulated, and white city folk don't like that shit either, right? But it's the people that's not in those cities, the people in the outskirts. Think about all the things that happen, it's going to get worse. I believe it will be worse for the people outside of the major cities this time around. They will try to come and do these little superficial marches and stuff like that in the cities, but the people outside, I think they're going to be in danger, scared, fearful. I don't see them being so strong outside, but they got guns outside too. But it's just a waste of energy to even do that, But maybe
my mother came from the north during the Depression, and she did say that it was hard, but it was you had more of a chance of making money up here than you did staying home. So she was up here. The money took her. My grandmother's house caught on fire, and they had money in the bank, and she was buying stuff, working. She was trying to keep a job and bought some stuff to take home, but the money, the bank closed up with 500. It only took $500 back then to build the house because it was a wooden house, and so that's how she stayed in the North. And she said my grandmother lost her business, lost her job and everything. So she sent for my grandmother and my cousin. That's how they got up here. But she did say that living in the, in cities, in the northern cities was easier. So I don't know. And I say that about Fonnie Willis. They said, oh, she has poor judgment. But the girl was raised in the South. She was raised by her father. She didn't, her mother was dead. I assume her mother was dead, but something happened to her mother. And, them people down there, I loved it when I lived in Georgia, but they slow as hell, if you ask me. And maybe because I come from where I come, and they were fascinated by me because they stood there, they wouldn't move the cars. And I'm like, yeah, y'all move the car. You got that big ass car, you can't drive, you can't do nothing, move. And the lady, she just stopped me in the store and she said, oh, I love it. You're from New York? I said, no, but I've been to New York. They're fascinated with New York. And I can't stand it. I haven't been to New York in years, So.
Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for sharing, for sharing the news. And I appreciate it.
I only did it. I gotta go because I thought about you and I looked at the time. I said, oh, he probably asleep or doing something because it was nighttime. I finally figured it out. I can't call anybody. I broke my charger for my phone. I can't use my phone. I can't do nothing right now. I don't got no money until next week, so I don't have a phone. But anyway, I was getting ready to wind this up, but everybody better pay attention. Feel free to share it with whoever you want to share it with. I don't care because people need to
I
hear
definitely
it.
will. I can share it.
Maybe Monday, if I get a charger, I'm going to go to my girlfriend's house, see if she got an extra charger for the phone. And if maybe Monday,
you better get a charger.
Yeah, so we can see Monday because I'm waiting for Monday. I want to see this man cry. Somebody got to do something. And I'm going to say this and then I'm going to end it. I read somewhere where this person, I forget who it was, I was reading, and they said Donald Trump will never go to jail, but he will be broke. But he's going to be, he's going to be broke. I mean, how many lawyers can you get? People know he don't pay his bills, and people ain't trying to give him no money, and they sure ain't trying to give him $500 million when you set up there line that said you were a billionaire. And a couple of days ago, I saw where Alina Habba was bragging about, oh, he don't need nobody's money. He's a billionaire. Got on Fox News and said that, and now the fool ain't got no damn money. And they tracked his money. They know where his money is. I said, no, they did. And when he came up with it, Fat Joe bought them damn ugly ass sneakers. I'm finished with him, Ice Cube, and every damn body. I'm so sick of all of these. I'm beginning not to like black people because they starting to get on my nerves being ignorant and stupid.
Well, it's not. It's just a segment. It's just a segment, and it's a lot of it is young people. Like you see these
it is my old stupid son. My old stupid son. And God bless her, but my dad's sister, she was one of them Trump fools too. Oh man, we used to get into it all the time. And I'm saying to myself, I look at a picture sometime and I said, now what you think? I told you he was a fool. Anyway, I gotta go. The day is going. Good, glad you came. I'm going to end this, everybody. Y'all have a good night, day, or whatever time it is. I'm lost today. All right, take care.
All right, talk to you. All right, bye.
Bye. Yep, that's it, folks. So if you they brought Bruno Mars knockoff. Sandra, you're a mess. You're a mess. Why didn't you come up here? But that's okay. Bruno Mars knockoffs. I don't know what them was. They wasn't even, don't put that on Bruno Mars. I like Bruno Mars. But I don't know. Fat Joe broke them, but bought them. But I said if I had $400 to waste, I might buy them so I could show people. I put them in a museum, the Museum of Fools, what fools buy, and that would have been one of them. I'm gonna go, Andrea. So anyway, like I said, I enjoyed it. You think like I think. That's why I like you, because you don't fall for anything. You don't fall for anything. But all these old stupid ass people, my son included too. They said, well, you want your son to go broke? I said, no, I don't want him to go broke because I need money too. That's what I said for him. So no, he can't go broke. But I hope he don't vote for this man. But whatever he do. It's his money, ain't mine. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, Andrea, and whoever else is listening. Bye.